In this video, we're talking about how to find a Mexican birth certificate of a parent, grandparent, or even great-grandparent, a key step for many people tracing their family roots, to claim citizenship by descent, or even handling legal matters like inheritance. Mexican birth certificates, known as the Acta de Nacimiento, are official records from the civil registry that prove identity and nationality. If your parent or grandparent was born in Mexico, getting a copy can unlock doors to dual citizenship, genealogy research, or even property claims. In 2025, with digital tools making things a little bit easier, the process is more accessible than ever, but it is still very much a manual process, and older records from the early 1900s might require extra effort. In this video, we'll break down why it's so important to get these birth certificates, who might need it, the step-by-step process to obtain one, validity, and some practical tips to succeed. All info is updated for 2025 based on official sources, but laws can vary by state, so consult a professional if needed. Let's get started. So first, why is finding your parent or grandparent's Mexican birth certificate so important? These documents are vital for proving lineage in citizenship applications. Mexico allows citizenship by descent if you have a Mexican parent or grandparent, granting a powerful passport with visa-free access to over 160 countries. For genealogy, it's a cornerstone record showing birth details, parents' names, and place, helping build family trees on sites like Ancestry or Family Search. Legally, it supports inheritance claims as well, pension benefits, or resolving disputes over nationality. In 2025 and 2026, with rising interest in second citizenship amid global uncertainty, thousands are using these certificates to apply for Mexican citizenship. Even if faded or lost, there's still things you can do. You can get copies made, you can access centralized databases, you can do historical searches. Whatever you have to do to get it, it's crucially important because without it, processes like registering a foreign birth or claiming rights can stall. So starting here saves time and frustration. So who might need to find a parent or grandparent's Mexican birth certificate? Well, anyone with Mexican ancestry seeking citizenship by descent. Children or grandchildren of Mexicans can qualify if the link is direct. Genealogists trace roots, especially from states like Jalisco or Michoacan with high immigration, so you often start there. Families handling estates or pensions for deceased relatives require it for proof. Foreigners abroad, like in the US or Canada, need it for consulate services. There's no strict eligibility. You can request any public record. But for your parents or grandparents, you'll of course need basic details like the name, the birth date, the municipality, the parroquia, the parish, anything that you have to help narrow down and filter to ultimately get that birth certificate in your hands. Probably worth mentioning at this point in time that MyLatinLife, or a full-scale immigration and citizenship consultancy, we help people get citizenship by descent in Mexico. We've helped entire families of 5+ people get Mexican passports. We've helped multiple generations. We've even had cases going back to the great-grandparent, and we help the grandparent get the passport, and then the parent, and then the kids, ultimately potentially opening citizenship to like 20+ people, and it all stems from getting these birth certificates. So I know, especially for the old records, it's very difficult if the record even exists at all. Sometimes we have to register that birth for the first time. So if you would like help getting Mexican citizenship or getting a Mexican birth certificate, there's a link in the description where you can book a call with us to get the process started. You can be speaking to us as early as this week. We can answer all your burning questions and ultimately put that Mexican birth certificate and citizenship in your hands. While finding a Mexican parent or grandparent's birth certificate is achievable, there are drawbacks and issues you need to be aware of. Older records, such as pre-1930, may not be digitized, requiring travel to remote towns or archives, with possible damage or loss from historical events. I've heard many stories of civil registry offices that were wiped out due to a flood or a hurricane, especially from places on the Gulf of Mexico. Or maybe the church moved, and so they don't have a lot of those old records because that old church isn't around anymore, right? Or who wants to spend weeks traveling around remote towns? You need to rent a car. You need to speak Spanish if you want to get anything done here. So it can be a lot of, it can be a big lift to get some of these records, because the fact is most people that emigrated, most people that went to the USA and other countries and left Mexico, they were people from small towns. They were people from poor areas. And so it's just even less likely that there's good documentation of the records. And bureaucracy varies. Some registries are slow, taking weeks. Privacy or access restrictions may apply, especially if the person is living, though deceased records are generally public. There's, of course, a language barrier for non-Spanish speakers, and incomplete family info can lead to dead ends. A lot of people come to me and they say, yeah, I think he was born in Sinaloa or Durango. It's like, we need to filter it down a little bit more than that. Finally, there can be fraud risks as well with unofficial services. And if you choose to hire somebody that is a bit unscrupulous or doesn't go through official channels, and what you do is considered a fraudulent path to citizenship, you're actually risking your citizenship potentially being revoked in the future. This is very common. There's a lot of sketchy stuff when it comes to registering Mexican births, when it comes to Mexican citizenship, where people just take the easy way instead of doing things the right way. But if you're genuinely entitled to a Mexican passport due to a parent, grandparent, or a great-grandparent, I highly recommend not taking any shortcuts, because otherwise you could be in a fraudulent situation where you're unable to renew your passport when it expires 5-10 years from now, and you might have trouble giving it to future generations. And really, that's the whole point here, is Mexican citizenship goes unlimited generations as long as you keep registering the next generation. So as much as it's for you, the listener to this video, it's going to be for your kids, it's going to be for your grandkids. And once you unlock this thing, you're going to be giving it to unlimited future generations and really creating a legacy. So I highly recommend doing things the right way and sticking to official channels. At MyLatinLife, we do things the right way. We're here to help. We have a team of lawyers in Mexico that can get anything done in Mexico. So link in the description to book a call with us once again. So here are a couple practical tips for finding your parent or grandparent's Mexican birth certificate. First, you can start with free resources. You can search familysearch.org or MyHeritage, or there's these different websites out there that, sometimes they have census records, or people have contributed to a family tree, long lost second cousins and stuff, and they're sort of building family trees there. And they're often incomplete, but it can be a good start. Sometimes there's even some scanned images and some details that can really help with genealogy. I find that these free resources usually help a lot more with European records. So usually they're quite good with like Irish and Italian records, but with Latin American records, it's not quite as good. So that's why you really want to enlist help. If you have relatives in Mexico, they can potentially help to visit some of the registries for you. Or really the best way to do it is to hire a service. We can be your research pros. We can help you prepare the apostilles and the notarizations that you need, basically the authentications of your documents. We can register the birth certificates if they were never registered. We can get new copies, because if you're using an original copy from 1950 from under the bed and the paint's fading off the page, that's not ideal. You really want to get new copies of all these documents for record keeping purposes, and ideally have multiple copies. What we usually do is get like 3-4 copies of a birth certificate, especially so that you could then use it to apply for other visas. Because if you want to go and apply for a visa in Panama or Argentina or Spain or whatever, you're probably going to need a birth certificate, and they're going to hold on to it, right? So that's why you want to have multiple copies of these birth certificates as well. Bottom line, finding your parent or grandparent's Mexican birth certificate opens doors to heritage, citizenship, and economic opportunity. With online tools and persistence, it's within reach for anyone exploring their roots. That's the full guide to finding a Mexican birth certificate of a parent or grandparent. If you've done this or you have any questions, share them in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if it helped. Subscribe to the channel and check our other videos on global citizenship, genealogy, residency, and more. And especially on all things Mexico. Again, book a call if you want to work with the professionals. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.